Yeah, you might think that sacking veteran anchors is bad news for the BBC, Jenny, but I don't think the BBC care. I don't think they care at all. Yeah, it's been in the news for a while, hasn't it? BBC News is completely changing. The way they're doing it's completely changing. It's not going to be rolling news channel from a studio in London or Birmingham or wherever it came from. It's now going to be Nicky Campbell's radio show with a webcam in it in the morning times. And then after 5, it's going to go to Washington. And then after 8, is it? Or after 9, it's going to be broadcast from Singapore. So it's going to be world news, not British news for the British people from the British Broadcasting Corporation. And apparently it's going to be cheaper to make. But one of the reasons they're doing it, to make it a world news thing, they can show ads. The rest of the world's going to get ads. We'll just get a weird weather break in it or something like that. So why can't they just show ads on it and then don't pay the license fee, won't need it anymore? I don't know. But it's caused a bit of uproar because they had a lot of news presenters, right, for the BBC News channels. And they've made them screen tests. For the people who want to move over to the new BBC News channel, they made them screen tests. Some of them have worked for them for 20 odd years, 30 years. Still got screen tests. Absolutely ridiculous. It's caused a bit of uproar in the news community with them. But don't feel too sorry for some of them. We'll come to that. Let's have a look at what this woman's got to say. The BBC has really shot itself in the foot this time in transforming its rolling news service into a global platform. It has sacked a clutch of its most experienced presenters. So gone are Ben Brown, Jane Hill and Anita McVeigh. Most unforgivably, soon we will no longer see Martine Croxall on our screens. I'm not a big news watcher anyway, and obviously I'm not a big BBC watcher, but I have had BBC News on in the office and that where we have a licence sometimes that it's on the 24-hour news rolling service, blah, blah, blah. I can't picture any of those people in my mind. Are they that important to news broadcasting in the UK that they're completely unsackable? I don't know, you let me know. In all, 10 top presenters have been axed, and with them, decades of broadcasting craft. Not to mention the invaluable rapport established with the public who regularly tune in. So would you tune in to news because you like the presenter? You regularly tune in because of them? Because don't the presenters change, like the 10 o'clock news, they get different ones sometimes, don't you? And afternoon news and BBC One, it's often a different presenter. Do people actually tune into the news for the presenter? Or do you tune in because you want to know the latest news? I don't know. I'm not bothered about who's presenting it. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. But even by TV's dog-eat-dog standards, the BBC's behaviour this week has been brutal. Presumably, pay packets played a small part in the mass cull. The likes of Croxall, Brown and Hill could not have come cheap, although they weren't in the league of BBC super salaries. It's over 100 grand. A low rent or a mid-range news presenter on the BBC, it's over 100, it's about 150. I think so. It is a lot of money, and they probably saved $1 million a year. Big deal, right? To the BBC, that's nothing. This isn't about cost cutting in that manner. They can cut down on studio time and stuff like that. The whole reason for this happening was to turn it into a world news service so they can show adverts. You go on holiday anywhere in the world, right? And you put the hotel telly on. You normally get CNN or something, don't you? Now it's going to be BBC. That's what they're aiming for. They want it in there, and it's going to be ads. It's going to be loads and loads of ads, depending on the market that they're in. But in the UK, there won't be any ads. You'll just get a weather break or something like that. This isn't about cost cutting. It's about making money from advertising. They like making money from advertising. I just don't know why they can't do it in this country. Then we wouldn't have a licence fee. It makes no sense. So as I said a minute ago, the BBC made some of the veteran presenters screen test for a job on the new news channel. They've got 20, 30 years of footage of them presenting the news on the BBC, but they still wanted them to screen test. Some of them didn't do that and took voluntary redundancy. And we talked about this one on the channel, look. One of them, Joanna Gosling, who had been with the BBC News for 23 years, said in her final broadcast that the job was personal. We come directly to your home and tell you what's happening, good, bad, funny, etc, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, she martyred herself on that news broadcast. I made a video about it. You'll find it on the channel somewhere. She got 155 grand a year from the BBC for presenting the news, not even in a full-time manner. So it's not a bad gig. So I wouldn't want to lose that either. But 23 years on the job and she took voluntary redundancy. What do you think the package that she got was? Oh, big money, right? Big money. And she'll turn up somewhere else. Don't worry about that. The reason she didn't fight for it is because there hasn't been a mass cull at the minute. The media market isn't flooded with ex-BBC News presenters currently, so she can walk in to somewhere else. I mean, look at Emily Maitlis, right? She left the BBC to do a podcast for 350 grand a year salary. Joanna Gosling will pop up somewhere else, I promise you. And even if she gets the same salary, so let's say she pops up on Channel 5 for another 150 grand a year, she's still got that huge redundancy package from the BBC, your TV licence fees, enough to buy, I would imagine, quite a cheeky house, I would imagine. So don't feel too bad for them. Don't feel too bad for them at all. I don't think it matters. There's not been a mass cull at the minute. They will get gigs elsewhere. There's plenty of other jobs out there. There's so many news organisations popping up every week now. They're going to be all right. And don't forget, they left with the redundancy pay. But the big point of this is the BBC did all of this to create a new rolling news channel for the global market that will show commercials. Why can't they just show those commercials in the UK? They've proven they don't mind being commercial. They don't mind making a few quid from ads. Just do it in this country. You don't need the licence fee. Don't need it anymore, do you? So what do you reckon about this then? Do you think sacking veteran news anchors was bad news for the BBC? Or do you think nobody actually cares about the people presenting it? It's more about the news itself. Because it seems a bit egotistical to think people are tuning in to this news channel just for me. I don't care how famous you are. People are tuning in because they want to know the news. I don't know. Maybe you do that. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because that way, hopefully, I'll see you in another video again soon. Ta-da.